Hey, Chase. Looking back at the offense last season, you guys were using a lot of Matt Canada's concepts early and then seemed to kind of go away from it as the season progressed. How much better and more effective can the offense be when you have an entire offseason to install and stick with it through an entire season?
Yeah, it's pretty easy to transition into it because, similar concepts like we've been running earlier on in last season. So it's not too much of a learning curve. And I think it's just nice because we'll be able to stick with it throughout the season.
Mark Gaboli.
Hey, Chase, obviously you had a big impact last year as a rookie, but when you look at your snap counts, they weren't really up there with, the top level guys in the league. I mean, you're looking at probably 20 less per game. Can you get to that point where you're taking 60, 65 snaps, or is that hard to do with some of the guys who are already on your team and established?
No, I was physically I was good to go for, as many snaps as they need me for. But it all depends on the scheme and what they're trying to do in the game plan. Sometimes my snaps will be higher, sometimes they'll be less. So as long as I'm playing a little bit, I'll be all right, making an impact.
Mike Brazuta.
Following that up, Chase, Mike Tomlin said about 2/3 of the way through last year that they kind of dialed you down on purpose just to make sure you'd be functioning at a high level at the end of the season, sort of a hedge against the rookie wall. Now that you're a second-year guy, no need for that, I would assume, and you're willing to go as long and as often as necessary?
Exactly, yeah. I didn't really feel a rookie wall, but I think it was more coach getting ahead of it. Potentially, if he knew it was going to come, like a little bit near the end of the season. So I think he wanted, knowing that we're probably going to be in playoffs at that point. I think he was just trying to keep some guys up.
Christopher Carter.
Chase, you came onto this team pretty strong last year, scoring a lot of touchdowns, connected for big plays, and all your teammates saw what you were doing going into your rookie season. What have you worked on in the offseason just on your own that you brought to OTAs and that you're kind of trying to hone your game? And what are the things you've been focusing on in that department?
Off the field, I've been strengthening the little deficiencies in my body. So I've really been working on the right side of my body. Since I'm left side dominant, I think I'm a little more balanced in that area. And then on the field, me and TJ Hushmanzada do a lot of the same things that we did last year because, it works. So there's no reason to veer off of that road. So just kind of doing the things that have worked and throwing out the stuff that hasn't.
Aditi Kinkwala.
Hey, Chase. Yesterday, the Browns head coach was talking about how awesome it is to actually get to work with the rookies. And obviously, since you couldn't do this work a year ago, it didn't necessarily hold you back so much. But being here in the spring, what's the advantage to that? What's happening this time of year? What do you see with the rookies that you just feel gives you something extra?
I think it's great in terms of installing plays and getting the timing down and just communication. Being around some of the younger guys. I know when I came in as a rookie, I didn't know anybody. So it was kind of hard to talk to people about some things like what's going on in the offense or just sit down and eat with them just because, you don't want to intrude. So I think it'll be good for the rookies once it's come time for the season. They'll be comfortable with everyone and there'll be more chemistry.
Joe Rutter.
Yeah, so Chase, do you feel that there's going to be a target on you this year since you did so well as a rookie that teams will maybe be trying to find ways to emphasize stopping you?
Yeah, I think they started doing that towards the second half of the year. But I think it's good because guys like Deontay, Juju, James, and Ray can really go off. And now that we have Najee in the mix, it'll be fine. So if they put two or cloud me, then I'm fine with that as long as the other guys are eating.
Brian Backo.
Chase, to think back to a couple months ago, how surprised were you that Juju re-signed here? Were you expecting that or maybe anticipating having a bigger role in the offense? Just take me through your reaction to getting him back.
I think a lot of people were expecting him not to come back, not because he didn't want to, because of the cap space situation. but we all knew he really wanted to come back. We just didn't know if it was possible. So when he came back, I was excited because not only is he a good friend, good player, just a good teammate too. He does a lot for us. So always good to have a guy like that in the building.
Jim Colony, we have you?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm back in the room now. Yeah, Chase, Ben was bragging the other day on his basketball game, how he had the receivers over at his house. Were you part of that group? You weren't there? Damn it. So you can't talk about.
I was there.
Oh, but you weren't part of the pig game, or how did that go?
No, I was. I think I had worked out right before I went there, so my upper body was a little sore, so I missed a couple of shots. Uncharacteristic.
Let's go to Rich Walsh.
Chase, sticking with Ben, I wanted to ask you, are you glad he decided to come back? And also, how has your relationship with him developed over the last couple of years?
Oh, I'm definitely happy he came back. There's very few quarterbacks in the league that could come in and, bring, that savviness and that football knowledge. Probably he might be one of two, who could bring that knowledge and make the transition into the league easier and then, make everyone else's job easier. And what was the second part of that question?
I was asking you about how your relationship developed from last year to this year with him.
Yeah, I think it's a lot more friendly, less talk about football, more talk about just like random things going on, more jokes being said back and forth, a lot more fun, I would say.
All right, we've got time for a few more. Alan Saunders.
Jason, last year you didn't have these OTAs. You're also dealing with, kind of the pandemic and being here with your family, not really able to visit, and just how much more comfortable and secure, I guess, in your life are you right now than you maybe were a year ago, and how does that impact the way you think you can play on the football field?
I'm definitely in the routine of being, NFL football player. Last year in the draft process, I was still kind of housed with my agency, and still kind of went through them. But this year I was like completely independent on my offseason plans, training, getting to places. It was tough not being able to see my family. I went after the game, but I'd like to go back and forth and visit them a little bit. So I just gotta wait till the quarantine stuff chills out. But they're excited to come down and watch a game.
Ray Fittipaldo.
Hey, Chase, there's been a lot of discussion about the lack of the deep passing game last year. Is there anything that you guys can do as a receivers group to help Ben out, or as an offense, to help that improve this year?
Yeah, I think, me especially, but we all can, obviously we have to complete those contested catches. I know I had a couple that I could have came down with, and then we were on the same page timing, so continuing to work off that and getting more separation downfield, obviously the more the better. Staying healthier down the stretch will always help.
And then last one, Mark Aboli.
Hey, Chase, all we've heard throughout this offseason so far has been the emphasis on the run game and the physicality that they want to bring back. Has that trickled down to your position group at all, where you're seeing a different message than maybe years past, or at least last year for you?
Definitely. I think we're going to be, we're not just going to be blocking corners and stuff. We're going to be coming down the box and trying to help out in some run schemes and run fits. So I think we're excited for that. I know maybe Ray Deontay excited to block linebacker, but, we're getting hands dirty.
Let's start with Dale Lawley, DK.
Hey, BJ, I just wanted to ask you what the last year has been like for you. You leave the Steelers, you get traded, you come back. Is it kind of been a whirlwind for you to a certain degree?
I'm unmuted, right? Okay.
You're unmuted.
Double check that one. I think you summed it up nicely with one word. It was absolutely a whirlwind. Made you think about it. My family and I did one great big circle lap of the United States, going from Pitt to home in Kansas, and then out to Seattle, and being traded to Cincy, and now we're back here in Pitt. I don't suggest moving 4 times, especially cross country. With a little one, it's not fun. But last year wasn't ideal, but we're happy to be here with some familiarity and people that we know and love, and ready to get back to business.
Joe Rudder, Trim. Joe Rudder, Trim.
Yeah, I'm here. BJ, what, now that they've installed a new kind of blocking scheme, what's the differences you're seeing what they're trying to install now versus 2 years ago?
We've got some different things, odds and ends that we're doing that is going to set up some run game. Obviously, that's one of our main focuses. That is our main focus this year, is to be able to run the ball better and open up the offense more. Coach Canada, Coach Clem, and Coach Morgan are doing a great job of making sure that we get looks that we want that are favorable for us to run the ball. So you'll see those things as we progress and they start to take hold. Doing business as usual. Blocking scheme, everything's, everybody runs the same things. They just call different things.
Didi Kinkerball, NFL Network.
Hey, BJ. Welcome back. When you left Pittsburgh, there was a line that had been here a very long time, a lot of veteran guys that were very entrenched. Now, other than David DeCastro, there may not really be many familiar faces. What are some of the advantages of having young, new guys all together? What do you like about this group? And if you have your druthers, what's the position you want to play?
You're right. Kind of leaving that room, there's a 7 of us together for 5 years, which is unheard of, extremely rare. Those guys, we didn't even have to really say anything. We were just always on the same page. But having these new young guys come in, there's a younger energy. I won't say that they're hungrier, but they're starting to find their traction in the NFL and they're starting to figure out what it's like. To me, same thing as always, wherever I can get on the field, right now they're leaning on me as a vet at center, but they say, hey, we might play at guard. We'll just kind of see where things go. We're going to have fun with it.
Follow up for Dale Lawley, DK.
Hey, BJ, I don't know if you saw this or not, but Tunch Ilkin retired today. Obviously, he's been a guy that's been around the team a long time and takes a big interest in the offensive line play in general. What are your thoughts on what Tunch has meant to the team and the organization?
I don't know if you can really put a value on it. I mean, I think it's been 37 years that he's been around this organization, either as a player or in the booth. Tunch is a Titan, man. I mean, he came in, worked with all of us when we wanted work. He's always talking to us about what we're doing, techniques and things that he's learned. And has just been a great guy, great mentor to anybody and everybody that's asked him for information or help. It stinks because I love seeing him around the place. Now I'm going to have to go visit him at his house on Mount Washington. He and Wolf always together. And now, we're kind of wondering what that's going to look like ourselves. But love Tunch, wish him the best and what he's going to have to fight and go through. And hope he knows that we all have his back and we'll do anything for him every step of the way.
Mike Prizzuta, DVE.
Hey, BJ, you're a guy who played a lot of quality ball here at multiple positions, and you left and you were on 2 teams and you didn't play an offensive snap last year. What do you attribute that to? And are you that guy coming back, or are you the guy who left?
Well, all right. Last year, with COVID, everything kind of got shut down and the gyms around me got shut down. We couldn't really go anywhere. I was in communications with Seattle and, they couldn't get me out there to get my physical. As you guys see with Juwan James, you get hurt away from the training facility, they void your contract. And so, it was the one time that I had finally seen some money and I wasn't going to risk losing all of that money and that opportunity by training and getting hurt away from the facility. So what goes along with that is you show up to camp overweight and out of shape, and I got beat out. There's no way around it. I'm not seeking comfort about it. And when it comes to the midseason trade, they needed a pass rusher and they needed to free some cap space, and Cincinnati wanted an offensive lineman. So they traded me, got there to Cincinnati. They got guys back that they liked, that they were comfortable with, back from injury, and they didn't need me. So they just kind of put me on the shelf. And at the end of the season, I had a hernia. So I had to have that repaired, and the rest is history. They released me in March, and here I am.
Brooke Pryor, ESPN.
Yeah, BJ, what made it the right decision for you to come back to Pittsburgh? Did you have other options that you were looking at, or was coming back here always the destination that you wanted?
Coming back here is, having the familiarity with the system, with the people, with the city. That's always, a leg up on other cities, other teams. I did have a few other teams that were interested, but they couldn't really respond at the rate that Pittsburgh did. Pittsburgh was so fast in getting there and saying, hey, we want you back. And other teams were like, hey, we're interested, but we don't know what that looks like at this point in time because of the cap situation. And so, we took the one that we had.
All right, I'm going to get to 4 more. Teresa Varley, Steelers.com.
Hey, BJ, you talked about what Tunch has taught you, what he's meant. What has he taught you? What type of lessons have you learned from him? And not just on the field, but Tunch has taught you guys a lot off the field too as well. And what has that been?
If anything, off of the field, it's his faith, his walk that he's led. He will mentor anybody and everybody about what it means to have faith and the line that he's had to walk and how he shares it so openly with guys that are willing to listen. That was an immense impact on me because, as we all know, Tunch hasn't had the easiest line to walk, especially now. And we kind of gravitated towards each other because I haven't had the easiest walk of life either. So we're kind of kindred spirits and like-minded souls. So just being able to hang out with somebody that knows what that's like and has gone through, very hard times and continue to go through very hard times. He's a great mentor. And like I said, you can't really put it into words. You can't describe it. Try not to get emotional about it, but, we'll love the man dearly.
Jeff Hawthorne, 93.7.
BJ, there's a lot of discussion externally about getting the running game going. How much is that the talk in your room, and what can you guys do to fix that?
I mean, honestly, that's the talk, not just in our room, but across the whole building and across the whole NFL. Everybody's like, what is the Steelers run game going to look like? We know that we have to come out with an edge. We have to be nasty about it. We have to reassert that run game and get back to, what Pittsburgh is known for. Those 3 yards at a time, that dust cloud, as Jerome Bettis would say, and when the dust settles, that ball's moving forward. We take pride in it. We're hungry. We know we have something to prove, and we've got a chip on our shoulder, so we want to do it.
Last 2, Brian Batco, Post-Gazette.
Yeah, BJ, following up on the earlier question, you mentioned you not being in the shape you wanted to be in last season. Can you give us a little more detail on that? Like, were you at a playing weight you were never at before? Are you, where you want to be now? Like, what kind of just take us through that process and getting right over the last 12 months?
Overweight's overweight, so you're out of shape regardless. I'm getting better now. Yeah. Now that I'm here training at the facility, my weight's coming down. I'm feeling good, feeling like my old self, and moving better. So keep working.
Okay, last question. Noah Strackbean, Sports Illustrated.
Hey, BJ. When you returned, you guys talked, obviously, when you signed. Did they tell you that, you were coming in to compete? And what have those conversations been like since they've drafted Kendrick Green?
Sorry, something kind of fell over here. With David DeCastro really being the only returning starter, everything's open. Everybody's competing for a spot. It doesn't matter where it's at on the board. It's always up for grabs. So, I'm coming with a vet presence and the experience that I have, and I'm going to do my best to be a starter come day one.